Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the BTS series Europe. We are in the playoffs. We're about to hop into game number 2. I'm KotLGuy. This guy over here is Blaze. Blaze, it's Vega Squadron versus Elements Pro Gaming. Game 1, pretty damn exciting match. We were led in to believe this was going to be Vega's show. They got a beautiful start by the Iceberg's Marana. She had a wonderful turnaround, claimed 2 kills. Everything was going all according to the Drow game plan. But then something changed. What changed?
I mean, I just feel like they didn't really look at what their draft was designed to do and find the timing for it. They had Aegis, they had Drow, they had like a 3 minute clock, and they're like, let's farm things, let's go spread the map, let's not take even the bottom tier 2. It's just like, why don't you pressure the map in that situation? Like, I wonder if it's FNG's call that he's saying, yeah, we can just do late game things. It's fine. Or if it's like Iceberg, like, no, I just want my E-Blade, please, just give me 2 minutes. It's like, just go, just go. That's what the CIS Dota is all about in my mind, and that's what I feel like would have actually been the answer to their problems here. But we'll have to see if they can shape things up for game number 2. They are going to be banning a Drow since they realized that Dire Side Drow is a little bit weaker by default and that they don't really want to play up against Radiant Side Drow. They're going to take that out, but they do leave in the Elder Titan. Elements picks up first pick Shadow Demon and goes lets Vega go into the Marana ET. So pretty interesting change up from Elements, whereas Vega, I think, actually have amplified their opener.
Yeah, Elements know their Elder Titan, I guess. They've been playing it pretty much all through the group stage with the exception of, like, I believe one game. But Vega are going to be the ones to hand it now. So I'd imagine Elements know the hero pretty well, know what's good against it, know what to prepare for. And, you know, as far as having to deal with that, maybe the natural order could be a serious problem. After Elements did close out their second phase, banning out some heavy offlaners in the Batrider and the Darkseer. It's going to be what looks like a Mag Axe to actually show up here for Vega now. As we know, Axe very good at being able to pull out a serious clinch, even against the likes of a Jug, who's simply just trying to Blade Fury TP out. Yeah, Axe will be there to quickly rain on his parade. His Blink and Call could be a wonderful setup tool here, but Blaze, the response from Elements is going right into a Morphling here. So another Swiftling special, you'd say? Or a Swift Ending special?
Yeah, I think so. I think that could be pretty good for them to run KotLGuy mid Juggernaut and then have the Morphling here again. I would compare the Void versus Marana mid matchup to the Juggernaut versus Marana. It works out pretty equally either way. The Morphling here is pretty interesting. Obviously, you've got pretty good replicate targets in, well, yourself because of the Shadow Demon Illusions, the Axe because of his spin, and even like the Juggernaut of the Marana if you need to. So. Yeah. I mean, overall, I feel like the Morphling can be pretty powerful. The one reason why I like this pick now, when usually you would save both your core picks for like the 4th and 5th, is because you know that they can't go Ancient Apparition. Like, there's no way you run Elder Titan and AA. Like, that would leave like a 5-position babysitting AA, and it just feels really weak.
Isn't it already, though, a huge red flag to, like, pick the Morphling into an ET? Isn't ET, like, a natural, beautiful counter against Morphling because of his aura or his armor game?
Yeah, I feel like because Morphling is pretty agility dependent, I feel like ET does have some extra value against the Morphling, but you can itemize slightly differently. If you have to go for like an AC instead of a Butterfly, you definitely have that option. And more importantly, like, you can just kind of focus on being able to get some early advantage over like usage of your spells rather than like just your raw right click, and then you can build a little bit differently too. Like maybe not even the AC, but like Helm the Dominator, Satanic. That's actually one of the most underrated items I would say on Morphling. Like, you never see a Satanic Morphling, but when you do, my goodness, you realize how hard that hero can hit and how much he can lifesteal with it. Like, Sadek is and Dominator is one of the few items when you get lifesteal on Morphling where you're actually able to play around with your Agi and strength mid-fight. It's usually you start hard Agi, you only go further and further into the strength pool until the fight's done, and then you reset it back in Fountain. With lifesteal, you can actually go further into Agi if the fight's going well. So just one of those things. But right now, Vega going to be going for the Skywrath Mage. The call combo with the Mystic Flare is going to be pretty solid. Actually, like, there are so many combos, really. But the big one that stands out to me is if the Axe and the Skywrath could both go on the Morphling, this creates some kill potential. This is a hero that can babysit and play the 5 position. But if he can just get the Silence and the Mystic Flare on a called target or an arrowed target, they're not Morphic Strength, they're not surviving. And it's going to be a pretty good hero for finding those kills out. So I like this. I'm curious if like they would consider something like a Tinker to really buff that up even further if they're fine with the Marana for that aspect of their gameplay. And Yeah, no matter what they end up going with, I feel like they already have a lot of great nukes online between the Mirana, the Natural Order, and the Skywrath that they can probably just look towards a pushing hero, a hero that can break and do a lot of physical damage, can lane against Slardar, and can focus on towers from there. Because that's one thing they are kind of lacking is actually just the ability to take like a tier 3 in a Rax.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, because I was gonna say like their scalability is still a bit in question, depending on what that final pick may be. I mean,
seconds remaining.
the wiggle room for late game Mirana, you know, could be hot or cold. I mean, even as we saw in the first game. So I'm curious to see if they're going to be more high tempo. Skywrath, as a hero, can run into problems into the late game a little bit if you know BKB start coming online and he's not able to make a huge early game impact. I am very curious to see what their fifth pick's going to be, as far as those things go. But we go back to Element side now. Vega get rid of that Ricky. It was a bit of a terrorize in the last game, but we'll have to see what kind of poor position could hit home here for Elements now.
Yeah. And you can see through the draft what I mentioned before, where you really can't pick up the Ancient Apparition. Vega knew that by banning out Huskar and Alchemist, and Elements knew that by picking up Morphling. They realized their hands are kind of tied. Where Elements could go for an A if they wanted to, they don't really need to. They really want to just allow themselves to get a better laning phase, so they could go for like an Ogre and Undying, really bullying heroes, but instead they're going support fling. They're actually going Juggernaut mid, Slardar off lane, Luna as the carry, and Morphling will be the support.
Whoa. Whoa. All right. Or 4-position Slardar off lane Morphling?
I don't think many people have been copying Misery's 4-position Slardar. I actually do think, like, you're going to be hindering the Morphling's early items anyways. He's going to be going into strength, so why not just run
Yeah, well, you got to get... I mean, all he needs really at the start is, like, Tranquil Soul Ring. It's like it. Tranquil's obviously helps for the armor. You're going to go all into strength, without question. Makes him so good because, like, later on he's, like, so hard to kill. He could be a great gem candidate and is able to kind of, you know, force a lot of spells blasted out from your opponents and force them to go into early cooldowns. And then obviously his ridiculous stun. I mean, don't even get me started.
Oh,
the cooldown is so minimal. You can see it come now. There is a bit of a trajectory projectile, and you can disjoint it or try to dodge it. I would assume Mirana's Leap should be able to avoid it.
Yes.
But if you don't avoid it, I mean, you are going to be sleeping for a long time, and that could be trouble. You're going against a hard-hitting Jug, a Luna. Man, Morphling, support Morphling can be such a pain in the ass.
Absolutely can. And it could just shut down so many different things. Like, you go in, you get this sick ET sleep combo with an arrow, and you're like, this is such a dead hero, and nope. Just like one adaptive strike, and you're like, oh well, guess that arrow's done. There's an arrow that you have to like have a skill shot out of 2 screens away, and you have to connect at the longest possible range to get big damage and big stun. Adaptive strike doesn't do much damage, but it always does the long stun. So the main goals for the laning phase here for LeBron on the Morphling is going to be for him to get level 7, because he needs to either have max waveform or max adaptive strike to start putting in more damage. Don't know what that is. Don't just go clicking links from Dota 2,
They did some
guys.
sort of YouTube link in the last game too. I don't know. Maybe it was like their hype anime playlist.
Who knows? But to say this much, the goals for support Morphling are to get Soul Ring Tranquils, because then you have the unlimited mana pool and you have the armor that you're lacking when you're running hard strength, and to either get max waveform or max adaptive strike, because early on there's almost no damage from Morphling in terms of right clicks, so you need to make up for it in waveform, or you just go right into what you're built for, which is the big stun as quickly as possible. I think the best way to do that in the early game is to set up like spin damage, eclipse damage, and most consistently it's going to actually be Shadow Poison. If you have a target that's stunned for 4 seconds, that's like 2 free
Let's say
Shadow Poison stacks.
they had like 2 stacks already on them, and then the stun, it's like, that's an easy 5. It's over. I mean, anything. Disruption, stun, the illusions are going to get everything. I mean, you can almost set up a surround block at that point. It will take a little bit of time before that stun does reach its true potential, and it's on LeBron. He played the call last game, you know, so I imagine it's going to be a full 5.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long road for Morphling to be a problem, but when that later game and that portion comes in, it adds a whole new... God, it's no pun intended, a whole new element to the game, and it is going to be something to fear. And Vega don't have that easy way to kind of cancel out the stun. They're just going to have to be very mindful of it. What do you like to see after, like if he's able to build the money, and let's say he pushes past Tranquil Soul Ring, what do you like after that? We used to see a lot of Blink Daggers, so you can get the instant in-your-face stun, so you definitely connect. I mean, that is where you cannot even get a BKB off at that point. So others go for Yules. Anything you prefer?
I actually, one of my favorite items when this first started becoming a thing, and we first started seeing in the offlane even, I actually really like toying around with the idea of going Midas after your basic bread and butter Tranquil Soaring, because what it allows you to do is you don't need that 2,000 gold towards anything big. Like, yeah, Blink Dagger can help, but it only helps you a little. It doesn't really change how you play. So the way I look at it is, yeah, you can just go for Midas, and then you get all the things. You get Shiva's Blink Dagger, you got Octarine Core, Adaptive Strike.
You know what you actually could go for this game that wouldn't be too bad and is kind of a typical build-up for a support Morphling? Maybe Blade Mail? Adds in the armor, adds in the mana. You hop it right into a Mystic Flare. Just pop your Blade Mail.
Wow. I have not even thought about that, but that is definitely possible. If you really hate Skywrath Mage, that might be the pub counter to Skywrath, is Strength Morphling with a Blade Mail.
It just kind of fills in those voids that Morphling will kind of lack a bit. I am talking more about the armor or so, but nonetheless, I'm very anxious to see. I love it. Elements have been a team that have been very, one of their strengths that we've seen through their group stage has been their drafting. And I like that, even in this BTS series, that they're pulling out these, fun little mind games in the draft. I don't know. I mean, do you think that they initially planned to have it as a carry Morphling, and then they kind of flipped the script? Or do you think with the Luna falling up shortly after that, they were planning on doing this from the get-go?
It's hard to make assumptions into this, and I have to admit just straight up that I don't know. But my read on it prior to the Luna pickup was essentially they realized there was no AA, they realized Morphling would be pretty good, and then they saw Axe Skywrath, and they're like, oh, this is actually not going to go so well. Let's change it up. But, it could have been the other way. Maybe they planned it all along. It's really hard to be sure of that.
Ooh.
Oh, could that be a Corey snipe?
Oh my god, Milan, right place, right time.
Holy shit,
he is beelining it for the donkey, and in the second game straight, this donkey is your first blood of the game. Beautiful snipe, Milan, and he's going to plant down a little flag. Say, this land is mine.
Yeah, and just the fact that he doesn't trade a courier for it, he gets a ward down on the Axe's camps here. It just annoys the heck out of him. That's such a great way to start the game for Elements.
It's obvious, it looks like they have sacked that off lane as they have the talent, of course, on Mitch. So with the bottom lane also being totally open, Milan is just kind of free to do as he pleases. He's actually almost level 2, and he's currently in a bit of fisticuffs here with Sayoma. Iceberg is leading him from behind. Could catch a good arrow in that choke point, but Milan's already back out and away. But now has drawn just so much focus on himself. This is definitely disrupting the Vega.
Yeah, just really good read on the Mirana's movement. He could have gone for a greedy 4th Shadow Poison stack and brought the Skywrath within 1 hit of death, but instead realizes that he's getting baited in and just kind of plays do-si-do with him a little bit. Skywrath still ends up going down as he just suicides to neutral creeps, but as it is, the Shadow Poison keeps on raining on this mid.
Yeah, it's all a matter of who's being a more nuisance to who. Obviously, Mag is trying his best to just have his free jungle farm, but at the moment is only kind of barely etching himself ahead of where the Slardar is, so you can give credit to Milan for that. I mean, Axe will naturally be able to kind of grind his way through the jungle faster with the blessings of having Helix and such, but Elements are not looking to let Vega just kind of pull off what they did in Game 1 and run away with the laning phase. So Milan will occasionally touch base back with this off lane, and he could just really grab up a lot of XP for himself. Do you think what they're doing now is fine? Will Mitch eventually reside back into his off lane after a period of time? How should they deal with the AM lane in the early game on the side of Elements?
I mean, you never really get to pressure an anti-mage with this kind of a draft. How in the world, even if they send all 3 heroes that are not farming up top, it's still not going to be doing enough to put a dent in anti-mage's farm. So I really don't look at it that way. I actually compare it more so to Mag's farm. Is the Slardar getting more than the Axe? And I would say absolutely.
Oh, they're going for Milan here. They were waiting for Mag to rotate in, but they didn't even need him. They could have made that go from the start. And without vision there on the side, Milan can't see the rotation in from Sayoma's Skywrath Mage, so he will have to hand things over and be the real first blood of the game.
Oh, this will turn the tables a little bit. Nice little double stack here. You can block out 2 camps for the Axe, but they'll still find some part of jungle to farm himself up with. And yeah, that's going to be a pretty well-timed set of Tranquils. He's burned more regen, but Mitch gets it only just slightly beforehand.
Do got to say, though, I mean, the bottom lane as the exchange, I mean, Luna continues to farm up. She's nearly neck and neck with the AM, but LeBron's Morphling means that all the jungles for him, too. As a support Morphling with early levels, that's amazing. The faster this guy gets levels, the better it is. I mean, if he gets that level 3, level 4 adaptive strike sooner, it's not going to be, Vega are not going to be ready for it, and there could be lots of ganks happening in the mid game. But mid lane, speaking of ganks, Milan making it go, gets off some early poisons for early right click. KotLGuy's waiting with the Blade Fury, but look who is going to be crafty. Hop out on the other side, but LeBron's waiting for him. Pops him with the early level of the adaptive strike. They do get off the poison here, but they are going to need a bit more. Concussive shot slows down LeBron. Not going to be enough. And they will have to let him go. Iceberg going for the TP. Oh, LeBron didn't see him, so couldn't quickly pop him there to cancel it as like one last little say in the matter. But nonetheless, props to Iceberg. Good leap, jumps to the other side, and rounds the bend and makes it away.
Tough gank to survive, to be certain. So being able to get away from that will be in their favor. However, the fact is, Juggernaut's about to hit level 6. The experience lead is going to be here for Elements. So
yeah.
It's just going to be kind of tough for them to bring it back unless the anti-mage can get a lot of farm very quickly and start pushing out lanes.
But it's an AM after all, and he is just going to do his thing. How do you think the AM should build up this game? Is it your Battle Fury kind of a game since you are going against the Shadow Demon? I assume that's probably the more appropriate, you know, build up a Battle Fury and grind your way. I don't suppose he needs to go any sort of fighting AM build, right?
I mean, you're definitely going to go for the Battle Fury. The question is whether or not you need the Vanguard before it. Because Vanguard is a good item when you're building into Abyssal, and it's a good item early, but it will delay your Battle Fury. So the trade-off here is if they feel threatened by this early Morphling movement, let's say like you have a level 7 Slardar, level 5 Morphling, and +1 going on the AM, can you survive that gank?
Nice snipe from Iceberg, but look who snipes him right back. KotLGuy crosses paths with Iceberg, who happened to take down the Elements Courier. And KotLGuy will be awarded with a nice little takedown after that Omni. Bottom lane, stomp on to Swift ending here. Caught close to the tower. Milan's there as assistance. Drops down Disruption. We got an Eclipse. Leading out for Mag. Will it be enough? No, the beams. Unfortunately, too many creeps to mitigate all those beams, and Mag will not be brought down. Swift ending just maybe eager to kind of make some use out of the ultimate. It looks like top lane. LeBron's going to get harassed back. He will take residence in the off lane in the meantime. Looking to power on forward into that level 5, ideally level 7 kind of position.
Could be in some danger though, actually. If they, like, let's say the next wave pushes out, he goes a little bit too far, concussive silence, and the AM burns the rest of his mana, he actually could be just food for the AM. So has to play this very safe, under tower, but Slaughter has made his way back, and it looks like they're going the other way.
Yes.
They got the adaptive, they got the combo.
Is it enough time? Yes, it is. That's a level 3 adaptive now, and that is plenty of time for him to just sprint his way into action. While bottom lane, we have Swift ending, caught now between two. Beautiful setup by Mag right there. Gets the call while Iceberg gets out the front, but look who's here now. LeBron shows up, gets off that first stun. Battle Hunger and right clicks though will put Swift ending down, and we have an even game already, 2-2.
Yep, trying to go for the ET there, but FNG, Dozy baits them into aggressive position, and without any mana, and with the body block, they're able to bring that Luna down, which is a big kill, but in the meantime we do see KotLGuy, of course, taking the mid-tier 1 down to below half HP, so still definitely what Vega needed in this kind of hot and heavy laning phase, but still quite inconclusive either way.
And we're already seeing the potential now coming in from the support Morphling. I mean, I feel like we're making him kind of the spotlight of this game, but you can't help pay yourself when he's such a unique pickup and such a 180 flip to the draft initially.
There are like, I could count on like maybe one or two hands how many teams are willing to pick this hero up.
A certain IX Mike team, that's for sure. Yeah. He's like one of the first like people to really pioneer through the competitive scene. But
dude, I was playing with CCNC in Battle Cup, and like he just wanted that support morph like over and over and over again. We're gonna see up top, nice little combo here. Will be a lot of damage potentially, but they unfortunately don't get the crush in time, and now it might be a turn the other way.
It looks like it. Mag gets the, oh man, even an arrow on top of it. No chance for you, Mitch. Off with his head. And Mag will be able to put him out.
Suddenly 5 heroes up on the top lane. They're should be able to follow this up with a tier 1 tower kill is the ideal, because you rotate this into heroes, you want more than just a Slardar, but at the very least they help the AM out. He is going to be going for the Perseverance first, so it looks like he feels comfortable enough with his health pool that he can survive adaptive strike combo, and he just wants to go for the Battle Fury to get himself online quickly.
Alright, so don't expect him to get too itchy to get involved in some of these fights. For example, mid lane. Yeah, that arrow is not happening. KotLGuy does have to be careful. Walks back into a Starstorm and will be forced to pop out the ward to heal right on up. And LeBron did opt. This was the other thing we didn't get to talk about yet. Back to the Morphling once again. Does go right for the replicate, and what a game to do so. I mean, you have a lot of things this game, all throughout the game, that you can replicate. Obviously, Axe is a great choice in itself, being able to either farm with it or just keep lanes pushed. And then later on, you know, you could have the benefit of an AM on your team. I'm excited to see how many ways and how he plans on using this replicant.
Yeah. I gotta say though, up top, this ward has actually been so helpful for Vega. 3 different times scouting out rotations, and now knowing like 10 seconds in advance they're going to be pushing with Luna up top, like they can get in position for it. They can TP, they can walk there, they can get ready for that. And that's a really big deal in my mind, being able to get that intel and make a move to counteract it as quickly as possible, or just to take advantage of the other lanes, mid and bottom.
Not yet to show what they plan on doing as a response, though. Iceberg has made his return to the mid lane, but there hasn't been any sort of advancement by Vega. They're just avoiding the lane altogether and looking to utilize farm elsewhere. Mag is back in the jungle now, looking to grind his way closer to that Blink Dagger. Let's touch base with both Blink candidates here. Mitch is a little further behind. That tower certainly helps, though. Pushes him closer and over that 1,200 mark, but it's certainly a race between both fronts because that is going to be a good power spike for both teams.
So they realize that unless they're leading off with like a 4 or 5 second arrow, they're really not able to take a fight against Eclipse. So they go ahead, they do other things. Anti-Mage is immediately farming in the safe space bottom. But I will note that the Morphling, LeBron, actually opted for the Arcane Boots. Now you'll note that really there isn't that much physical damage coming out. I mean, yes, there's the negative armor potentially from natural armor, but like the only people right-clicking him are the Anti-Mage and the Mirana. Even Axis Spin does pure damage now. So doesn't really feel like he needs the armor. Realizes that he might get his mana burned and pops the Arcanes to keep him in the fight.
Yeah, I guess the utility of having the Arcanes, being able to save someone in case there's a big mana void or just provide more mana. And the points you made about him not really having to worry about having the extra armor to, you know, to a heavy physical assault, you know, I won't fault him on that. You can always split them apart, change things up later on if you want to use that Arcane or mana booster elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Ether Lens Adaptive Strike, but it sounds
pretty
dirty.
No, it's very dirty, actually, now you think about it. Oh my goodness, that would be a wonderful grab and something he's planning on doing here. Look at this, Mitch, crush onto Iceberg, gets a couple of bops in.
What kind of build is this? No bash, no RNG, not looking for the luck, just looking to get arrowed under tower.
What a hitbox on that arrow. It looked like it was going to sail just under him. He moves back in. He should have just gone for the right clicks there, but
no bash. There's no chance.
Yeah.
He turns his like 25% to a 0% chance when he doesn't skill that up. It's a little sad, but yeah. Obviously there's a lot of value in the sprint, but I always think at least like one value point just to put the odds in your favor a little bit.
Odds ever so in your favor, yes, but fortunately not.
Big difference between one name in the Reaper glass and like 3.
Fair enough. Slardar, unfortunately, that means that he will have to wait a little bit longer in hopes of getting that precious Blink Dagger now, while a certain Mag has just grabbed his, unwrapped it from its packaging, and how nice would it be if I got some blood on it already. He's hanging around back behind the tower. There's a smoke in the pocket of FNG if they want to use it here. And look who happens to be hanging on the other side of this mid lane, Swift ending. LeBron is behind him for any sort of counterplay, but I don't know if just the two of them is going to be enough. Mitch here as well. They're moving all the way from the mid lane while back and below by the bottom rune. Breakout here for KotLGuy. There is a disruption save from Milan. Things get a bit awkward. FNG tries to go for the TMP, but he's not going to. He makes it out. He makes it out and back to the fountain. He's going to be good, but is Sayoma going to be as lucky? Oh, no, he's not. He gets crushed and slashed down. The Chicken Man will fall. And now Elements will be able to segue into this Tier 1 mid lane and get the finish there.
And while we're talking about skill builds, Milan is really going hard for this disruption on the Luna. Just says, okay, well, as long as we have like 3 Lunas in every fight doing lots of damage, we're fine. But a Soul Catcher would have been a kill on ET there for sure. Just 1 point.
The downside to some of these funky item buildups here for Elements, but they will take the last Tier 1 on the side of Vega now. And we'll be able to control the map a bit further, but Vega could expect this. FN still, he has Battle Fury now, Blaze, so he's making pretty good time.
Very good time.
He's got 1,200 gold. We have to see if Elements are going to be able to do enough to be a problem here. And does he have to change anything up because of the Morphling alone? I mean, that's a big support, like stun coming in. Is a BKB something that he might have to consider down the road?
I definitely think so. I mean, yeah, theoretically you can Manta dodge at the right time. You see it coming, like we mentioned.
But 4 seconds later, there'll be another one or whatever, right?
Exactly.
What is it? 10 seconds.
Yeah, very short cooldown. So let's taunt down bottom.
Okay. Oh, there it is. The call combo there with the Mystic Flare. Still not enough for Swift ending. He's gone. LeBron steps in as the bodyguard. And look at that. He replicates the axe now. And that replicate. LeBron could block him right there. Yeah, block him in between the two. Oh, Not going to be blocked in.
So
it doesn't matter anyways. Yeah, it's LeBron's, I think his first kill of the game. You don't see those very often on a support Morphling, but he gets one now, and 4-4. Things evened up.
Swift ending with the Trez, the Dragonlance, enough health to survive like a level 10 or below axe. Level 11 axe is a little tougher with the extra culling blade, but is able to get out of that one. And yeah, we'll see Vega kind of be at a bit of a miss of what to do. Like, the only hero who has a clear game plan for Vega is FN. He's like, yep, just push out lanes and farm. Yeah. Don't get too close to towers because Morphling might be there. That's about it. Other than that, yeah, I actually finds Milan here, gets disrupted, but I actually think Milan's the one that's going to go down.
He's about to get stomped by FNG.
Wow, they're so scared.
They're not even close, but they could see potential there, and they're already out. They're playing the safest game possible right now.
Dire have absolutely no intel other than that Luna's mid. So.
Oh, and still Sayoma, who is trying to run in there possibly to plant down some intel. Crosses past with Jug, jumping from Mad could help, and they get the turnaround play. Nice job from Vega. Sayoma baiting in the Jug into an awkward position, and now it could be Mitch the next takedown here. Silence concussive shot, a jump in duck. Wonderful alley-oop play there from Mag, secures him the double. And Vega will take the initiative now. A 6-4 advantage. Arrow! Oh my god, that was a little too close for comfort there for Swift ending. My goodness.
Absolutely. You're going to get a call on mid here. Milan now going to be eating some spins and even going for the ultimate. Nice defensive disruption, but can they turn it with Eclipse?
All right, Lucent Beam, even a forgiving spin. Mag eating a lot of damage, but they can't pursue. LeBron will eat the arrow. Swift ending continues to run on in, but they will not be able to find the target, and Iceberg will even commit in the Mirana ulti just to ensure a safe getaway. FN's already back into the grind to farm. Vega continue to play what feels like a bit more passive game, but they have an AM game that they're primarily looking into.
Yeah, I feel like just even with that passivity, like the fact that they're not losing heroes, they're not bleeding kills at this point, and that Vega are able to just push this AM further and further ahead is actually extremely favorable for Vega. Like, at this point, FN is just going to be large and in charge. We've seen what he can do in a late game position with the farm that he needs, and he's just propelling them to that position so rapidly. They have not suppressed this AM at all. He is getting full free farm across the map, top of net worth by far, and that's just going to keep up. Like, I feel like Elements just have to find a really good Eclipse and find like a really good team fight where Vega can't just like break down the initiation with the axe.
I'm very curious how confident Elements are with their own lineup that they have to worry about the AM. I mean, you have the two cores between the Jug and the Luna. You have that supportling in your back pocket to always dish out those very unforgiving stuns. I mean, we'll have to see how threatened they are. They're threatened enough now where they feel like they need to kind of get something done. They smoke, they head up back in the mid lane. They're looking to go for Iceberg here. And with a leap away and a TP, it's not going to be good enough. Omni Slash will be there by Gogi just to ensure it, and they will claim the life of the secondary core of Vega.
Alrighty, so they can look at Roshan now because they do have Medallion. Although it's half value against Roche, it's still not bad timing.
What do you think about that pickup, by the way? I mean, it was not one of the things we named, but it can be a popular pickup, provides him the armor where the Arcane Boots are lacking.
It's really good since your main target is AM. Your goal is to, like, to just adaptive AM next to his own illusions and do a lot of mana burn, doing a lot of physical damage. So I actually like it. And then when you don't use it, you still get some armor for yourself. So overall, I like this item. He'll have a full mana pool. He'll always have either armor on himself or armor on a target that they really want to kill.
Because he did get that, I would actually favor him going for the Blink Dagger over an Ether Lens, I hope. Just for the instant stun, I think is more value. You have enough strength, I would hope by that point. I mean, it's 1800 now, for God's sakes. That you should be able to survive decently, plus waveform. So if you need to jump in, get the... You can get the Adapt Strike off before even a Manta if you're fast enough. But bottom lane, speaking of fast gank, fast combo will secure a very short-lived Aegis here on Elements. Vega snipe it down and make it a hit and run as they TP out. So good little takedown of the extra life.
But I don't think we caught it, but actually AM tried to go for a little TP play up on the top lane. He blinks to the up on this plateau, tries to go for a TP away, and he just gets blink crushed and obliterated. Like, he just gets caught out in a really awkward position, and it's so easy for the Shadow Demon and the Sauter to bring down.
So nice for them to get the Aegis, but when you factor that in, it's definitely better for Elements right now. As we see, looks like a possible Manta also coming out for Luna here. So you have Mantas, both Jug and Luna. You know, the potential Skywrath Mage getting off this crucial silence and shutdown is not going to be as easy now. And could be a bit, you know, flustering for any sort of single target on Vega if they're trying to get the initial grab. But here comes Elements now. They're looking to make an approach towards this tier 2. We'll have to wait and see if Vega decide to defend this one or not. Man, they're taking it fast, Blaze.
Yeah,
There's
very,
some
very quick push.
good initiative, good pushing power from Elements here that cannot go unnoticed.
The big thing is the skill build from Milan in that case. Like, getting the maxed out disruption at this stage of the game is pretty insane. Went only for 2 points of Shadow Poison and is now maxing Soul Catcher of all things. So he doesn't expect to be able to get multiple big poisons out throughout the fight. He just wants to be able to make sure that Luna can do as much as she can and save with other heroes. So I think it's weird, and I wouldn't recommend it for most games, but for this one it actually works out pretty well. Because you have the Luna to amp up the damage, and when you adapt to strike Soul Catcher somebody, you want them to die. So
for sure.
Good to have the Soul Catcher maxed out as well. So a little bit different, but it definitely can work. And I think that even with this, they can push down the high ground without much say in it from Vega.
I mean, Vega say is in other lanes. You have FN pushing down the top lane where they're going to be attacking the tier 2. Mag has cut the mid lane from any additional creeps coming up, but some new ones actually just walk right on in. These glaives begin to go to work. A tier 3 is already down. The range rack's going to be taken. Elements looking to go for both. Vega still trying to just slowly get an answer. There's going to be a nice stomp.
They woke him up!
In. Storm Skull, but yeah, with the wake up, not going to matter. So that's going to be a Rax taken by Elements here. Oh man! FNG just gets shredded apart through the blender of this Luna. A free forgiving kill. Elements just walk away with their winnings.
Iceberg, the alarm clock, and in this case, they're able to get a great reposition. If they had been able to solidify that initiation with the Earth Splitter and Berserker's Call, that could have been actually a couple of good kills going in favor of Vega, but instead, Iceberg just pops in, puts some damage out.
Yeah, that should have been a mag follow-up, I would imagine, after the stun for a call, and that's when you go Iceberg, with, as you mentioned, the Earth Splitter and everything on top of it. That could have been destruction in such a choke point, but didn't work out that way. Bit of a sloppy defense there by Vega, and now Elements get the first racks of the game at just over 20 minutes.
Yeah, and this suddenly becomes far less of a potential comeback from Vega. Like, we were talking about this AM, like getting big, getting farmed. He's got the Manta. He'll go for another ulti orb, actually, so could be something like a Lincoln's? Yeah, I think that should be good.
For the adaptive, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's solid.
But that's just one, and like I said, small cooldown. Lots of other things to be able to pop that Lincoln's.
Yeah, but again, it just allows him to keep farming, keep pushing. Like, now he doesn't have to be afraid to pressure a tier 2 tower.
That's true.
Hoping that Morphling doesn't rotate. He can just go in, and if that happens, yep, blink out, TP out, whatever. But, so I think the Lincolns is a really smart choice, but the problem is that the state of the game has changed. Like you said, you're up against 2 carries that scale pretty well, have good
Iceberg casually walking in from behind.
Another
Moonlight Shadow tries to leap away. Oh no, Iceberg. Not the place you want to be. Maybe wasn't suspecting so many from Elements to be up here, but they're here and nearly in full force, with the exception of Gogi, who's back at mid lane kind of pushing it out and then looking to deal with the bottom approach of FN. The rest of Elements.
FN, yeah, he realizes he can't trade. He can't be put in a position where he's stunned out and can't TP back, so he goes back home. But you've got 3 Luna Illusions just pounding away at the racks. No risk whatsoever.
Elements on the verge here with this kind of motivation could just kind of walk themselves into a 2-0 shutout of who many could consider Vega to be the best team potentially for this BTS series. And Elements could just upset right in round 1 if things continue going this way.
Yeah, after Advenom and Escape underperformed, I expected Vega to be like the top dogs in this whole thing, but as we can see, Elements, one of the lower seeded teams, are coming back from it, and it's on Vega to try to upset them.
Oh, Mag and company walk in. This was on the back of a smoke, and Max walks right into trouble. He's going to be taking out. The axe gone. 40 seconds. Does have buyback, but that was not the approach Vega were hoping for. And that is a killing spree as well from Mag that he hands over. Just wonderful positioning. Elements not allowing Vega to make any sort of easy approach, holding good high ground positioning. Vega are just trapped inside, and with the siege continuing here from the Luna and from those Shadow Demon Illusions, this tier 3 is done for. These Raxes are exposed. Vega backs against the wall already.
Absolutely, and just, I mean, at this point, they almost have no answer whatsoever. Like, they need the perfect combo of every single one of their abilities. FNG needs the Earth Splitter of his life. They do get an arrow here, but they got the Healing Ward behind it.
There goes the Splitter. It will connect. Some mediocre damage. with a follow-up from Sayoma to get him low enough, but that's a Rax gone. That's 2 Raxes gone from Vega. I mean, you're putting a lot on the back of an AM, but how big is this back?
I mean, AM is finally ready to start ratting tier 2s. Like, he's got Lincoln Sphere, he's ready to go, but now the Morphling has picked himself up a 4-staff, so he can just break the Lincolns with a 4-staff, and then it'd have to strike him anyways.
Oh my god, that's great. LeBron is just on it right now. Make out casual suggestions, and he just comes in with the one that makes sense.
yeah. I mean, you can even turn the medallion into a solar crest to further find the benefits from that item. Like, they have actually so much going for them, and Vega are desperate. They need this Moonlight Shadow to connect.
Vega very deep already after losing 2 set of racks. Look how fast they're on the side of Elements now. Just looking to catch Elements with their pants down, feeling confident, doing jungle farm. No, Elements are back inside their base, anticipating Vega to be like this because, look, there's no one top lane. They have these great wards up there. They can see that. They didn't see anyone mid lane, and now they see Vega running back from that. They're just kind of like, yeah, we got him.
Yeah,
we got him.
Vega's only option there is just to kind of go for the jugular and find a really big kill and shake the map off of it, but now we see that Elements, this one's going to be a lot more elusive. Like, yeah, Vega didn't find any way when they went for their gank. There's no way they're certain that a smoke is coming out from Elements and where it might be coming from. So it's going to be a long run here for Elements. Don't know if they can refresh the smoke. Yeah, they don't have any on them, so they do have a limited clock here, but they just need to find one hero a little bit exposed, and it looks like it might be Mag.
Yeah, it's in bottom lane. Behind him is Iceberg here, but Elements are already getting surrounded him. There's the jump. It's from Mitch. A long journey as we follow them all the way up here, and look what it leads to. A promising takedown. Mitch could lose his own life. No, they got the disruption waiting for him, and they're looking to jump to the back line to go for Iceberg. Purge will catch him. KotLGuy thinks about walking in, but they got basics to get back to as a tier 2 will be taken down. That's the last outer tower of the last lane with the last set of racks. And what could be the last game of the series, Blaze? Last! Jump in, comes out, insta-kill on FNG. No Elder Titan for this defense, it looks like. Out for nearly 40 seconds of this game.
Yep, just 1 set of racks away from defeat and moving into at least 2nd place here in the BTS series, but just 2-0ing Vega, it's got to feel like incredible for them. I mean, you got to realize that, I don't want to go too far into it, but there were some personal things going through one of the Elements players' heads throughout this entire series, so the fact that he's able to kind of shrug that off and show what he and his team are fully capable of through this, it's a very heartwarming thing. And seeding, upsets, doesn't matter to them. They're fully capable of taking a game off of any team in Europe, it looks like, at this point, and they're just methodically taking it here up against Vega, about to 2-0 them and advance to the grand final here for BTS Series number 4.
They will await the winner of the next upcoming series of Virtus Pro versus Friends. But for now, Elements playing very disciplined here, not looking to get overzealous when they can just see the finish line ahead of them here. Got to give some last bit of respect to Vega as they smoke up and look for a hold. Elements should know they were in this position in the last game. Mag jumps in, they get that insta-kill on the KotLGuy. That's a good start for Vega. Eclipse is going to be popped, but not very effective under the Moonlight Shadow, and with the split coming out, it looks like FN is going to be caught. Disruption and Adaptive Strike. They locked him down. Look at the AM illusions. Do all the work necessary. That is not good. They will lose FN. LeBron is going to be on the fight back, but he is a big tanky support. Mitch jumps in from behind, gets the crush, but then quickly gets stomped down from FNG. Iceberg on the way out. LeBron still chasing for him. Will not be able to make catch. Mag and FNG looking to close out onto Mitch here now. LeBron's there to help, though, and should be able to stun and lock them down. Mitch is still hanging, man. They'll get the jump on Mag. They'll finish him off. FNG's got to get away. Uh-oh, FNG. He tries to go valiantly.
Bash!
No! Only time for one attack, and LeBron was kind of in his own world, unfortunately. I don't know if he was farming the camp or not, but had he been nearby, maybe they could have got that snipe. Nonetheless, that was Vega's best hold so far, Blaze. What are they able to take away from it?
They get a lot of cash, but in the end, they realize how weak they are against this lineup and how ill-suited they are for it. Milan made the great play of 4-staffing to break the Linkets, and right when AM blinked in, he disrupts him. Then they didn't get the Demonic Purge because of a sleep, but they were able to get the Adaptive Strike plus amp damage plus Medallion, and AM just tore himself apart. Like, straight up.
Great.
This is the Shadow of his illusions. This is Shadow of his former self, as he is just fragmented into...
Man, FNG, it has not been an easy game. It has not been an easy series for him. 0-3 on the Elder Titan, gets crushed right there as he tries to get the stomp off. Iceberg has to dish out the Starstorm to try to slow the flow here. This is the last racks before Megas are out, and Shadow Demon Gaming is happening right before him now. Vega need to do something here. They're looking to reach, they're looking to dive. Mag is just committing on in, trying to get hold of anyone from Elements here. He gets blasted apart, and now it's going to be a FN. I don't know if he mantis himself to the high ground, but he's stuck up there for now. We'll be able to blink down. Gogi eats a bit of damage burst from the Skywrath Mage. Now Sky blasted in the face with the Adaptive Strike. He is gone for good. And that last Rax is going to be brought down to its very foundation. Only tier 4s and an Ancient Stand. Mega Creeps are out. Elements Dota. We have not seen a lot of them in the heavy spotlight, but this could be their season. A good start for them already with an upset on Vega.
Absolutely insane. I mean, you look at guys like Mitch and Milan, they've played together for over 3 years now and have had pretty marginal success throughout this time. Like, my Insanity was probably their high point, and that nobody really remembers that team to a great extent. So, at this point,
okay, FN is FN, as we all know who FN is. And FN is done with this game, so he's gone, Blaze. And this game's over.
Yeah, it's just a function of the 2-0, man. It's tough to be a Vega Squadron fanboy.
It's a little salty here. I got some more real quick.
But yeah, no, Elements, they played a great game, and while this must have been frustrating to play up against, because this lineup is well crafted just to poke and prod it in a very specific way. The maxing of the Disruption, the pickup of the Medallion, which they usually use defensively on some of the illusions and replicants. The fact that Morphling added in 1 extra illusion as well. So they had 3 illusions every single time they were sieging. Like, having that out at like 20 minutes before you can really have a response is very difficult. Because like your best answer might be to like blink call on the illusions, and then you realize you just called illusions and you didn't hit a single hero, and now you have to get away. And they'll just adapt to strike you or hit you with the Lucent Beam, and you'll go down from there. So it puts you in a really awkward position to try to defend against, and yeah, they weren't able to do so without committing too much. So Vega Squadron will be eliminated. Surprisingly, they were able to 6-0 their group, and now get 2-0 in the semifinals here in the single elimination tournament.
So crazy. I really want to know, like, just with how wonderfully the Morphling ended up working out for him, if it had been planned or not. If it had not been planned, things just kind of almost worked out for itself. I mean, even the late AM commitment in, it just made it feel all more special too. So big props right now to Elements. They walk away 2-0, and as mentioned, will secure their spot into that grand final. They await, though, their opponent, whether it be between Virtus Pro or Friends. That's actually going to be our next series. I don't believe we are going to be waiting on schedule. We will be trying to get this next series underway very soon. So don't go too far, guys. There is plenty more Dota ahead of us. We have the follow-up series, and then we will also be doing the grand final. Just to know already, it is a best-of-3 grand final, all best-of-3s today. But we still have 2 more series ahead of us. Should be a good time. I'm KotLGuy from Beyond the Summit. That guy over there is Blaze. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you soon for more Dota coverage.